Welcome to Creative Current, a podcast for those of us who want to get caught up in our creativity.
We're Jess and Jen, two friends and creatives who met in tech and realized we both spoke the same language of possibility, imagination, and creation.
We believe that creativity is a living force, powerful and magnetic. Like a current, you don't control it. And when you stop fighting it and let it move you, you realize it leads you to where you wanted to be all along.
This podcast is about staying with that current through self-doubt, uncertainty, and loneliness, and trusting that your creativity is worth it.
Over the next 12 weeks, we'll be following the artist's way, and we'll be discussing the chapters and our experiences doing the work. We see it as an opportunity to explore the depths of creativity and its connection to life's biggest questions and possibilities in a collaborative, community-building way.
We're really glad you're here. Okay.
Welcome to week 4 of welcome to week 4 of the Artist's Way, Jess.
Yay, we've made it to week 4. Week 4 was a sense of integrity.
Recovering a sense of integrity. Yeah, I totally expected the content of this chapter to go a different direction than what it did. What was your initial perception?
Yeah, this felt like a very reflective internal chapter where we're like really, at least I had strong themes of going inward.
And do you feel like that's been different than the other weeks?
A little bit. I think maybe one of the bigger changes for me is that I've started to do more morning pages, which has been the assignment the whole time. And I think this chapter really made me confront my hesitation with the morning pages. And so
Yes.
I did them more. I know.
Tell us, what was the hesitation?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think I figured it out when I think she talks about how they're going to bring out the honesty in you. And they're just going to surface a bunch of thoughts. And if there's shaming thoughts for me or worried thoughts, I avoided morning pages because I did not want to confront those thoughts. But I think the thing that pushed me over the edge was that so much clarity comes through and they just continue to act like compasses on our preferences, which I'm really trying to build right now. What do my own preferences look like outside of everything that I've been conditioned to appreciate as good for expression and writing and storytelling? And I guess just starting to become more honest with myself. I've started to see that was okay and probably a really good thing.
It is a really good thing. Oh, thank you for sharing.
So, Jen, how was your week this week? And did any new revelations come up for you with the morning pages?
Okay, well, I love the morning pages. I actually did miss my first day of the morning pages on Saturday. So, that was interesting. We did a day trip, so I wasn't able to get it before. And then when we got home, it was, crash into bed type of situation. So I missed that day and I totally felt it throughout the day. I actually packed my journal with me in the car because I was thinking maybe I can do this, but it didn't pan out that way. I didn't want to get car sick. So I didn't end up doing it, but I did notice it. And then I read that in the chapter because this was the other thing that was different this week for me is that you said you read the chapter the day after we recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, I got really behind on reading the chapter, so I actually didn't read it until yesterday. So I don't know, that maybe I read it within the week, but I'm not totally sure if I met the mark of reading and doing the work within the time frame.
And that is okay. That is okay.
I do feel like, though, when I read it, I was like, okay, yes, I did feel like I agree with this. Like, yes, I already know that the morning pages, they are like a tool for me. Like, they are not something that I need to do, but they help me, I've always kind of gone to my journal whenever I'm feeling things that I'm, trying to work through. And so like morning pages to me is a good rhythm to try to do it like first thing rather than trying to live my day and then go to my journal and writing when I'm feeling a lot of the like stirring of things, It's been a good practice to like prioritize it.
Okay. And Jen, well, tell me more about that. I guess I'm curious because I feel like she explains this sense of once you start doing them every day, not doing them feels almost disorienting. Like, how does it affect your body and your mind?
Yes. I mean, I'm trying to look for the quote that you're talking about because yes, she does. She does specifically say it, and I was like, yeah, that's how I felt on Friday. Like, I don't want to miss another day. Is how I felt. How can I make sure I do this on Sunday? My feelings around it felt unsettled. Like I wanted to process something, so I didn't really ever feel bad that I didn't do them because I have claimed them as something that I want to do outside of this 12-week journey. So that was good to be like, okay, well, I didn't get them to today, but that doesn't, like, I didn't feel upset about it other than I'm like, oh, it really is hard. It really is hard to fit this into your life every single day. And also that's why it's worth it to do it because it does change your day. It does change the way you're relating to yourself. It does change the way you're flowing. I always find when I am doing morning pages consistently, like in this experience and in other times of my life, that I don't need to talk as much about things to other people. I don't need to externally verbalize and process everything because I'm already like sorted it out and coming to terms of like where I believe and where I stand on things. And then I'm like, okay, like it's not going to change. Or asking advice. Like I don't really ever ask advice anymore. I share things when I need help sometimes or when I need support, but I'm like, I don't believe that anybody else has a better answer for me than me.
Oh my gosh. I am such a believer, like time and time again, that we all ultimately know what's best for ourselves. And if we can just get quiet enough to hear our inner dialogue around what we're wondering with or what we're deciding between, then we'll find the answers. And Jen, just to dig in just a little bit more here out of my own curiosity, and anyone else who's maybe a little bit on my side of the spectrum of mostly still just getting into the groove of doing them every day, is kind of the same question but put differently. Have you noticed any changes this round of doing the morning pages consistently?
I've noticed that it's taken up a good chunk of my morning every day to do it, and that time has not felt lost. I have found that because I have also, since starting the Artist Way, been in a pretty intense like work cycle phase for myself and for my business, and I've been needing to create a lot, generate a lot, and just this week started put myself out there a lot, which is all pretty intense. And when I look at the scope of what I was able to generate, that could have taken forever. That could have taken months and months. And it's taken a month, to actually write all of that. And part of that's because it was all stewing before. I was like thinking on these things for a long time. It was stewing. It was just the expressing phase that I've been in. But I do attribute it also to this work and committing to the morning pages that I have been centering myself and grounding myself every day, so then I'm not losing time. And there have been so many interruptions to my time. It's not like I've had big washes of time. It's been sickness, there's been school closures, there's been so many things that have interrupted the amount of time I thought I was going to have, and yet the time has been enough. And that feels like a pretty stark difference. And I know that had I not been processing my thoughts, I would be wasting time spinning my wheels when I was trying to execute, you know?
Yeah. What I'm hearing from you in reflection is that it was giving you kind of this steady momentum that was letting you progress and move forward, maybe with a little more ease. And like something that could have taken months was able to be produced in a shorter time period than that, weeks.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So this chapter felt like, okay, the reading deprivation. So this is a topic that I was curious about. So in this chapter, Julia recommends a practice she calls reading deprivation as a tool to get in touch with your own voice and your own ideas. And I did not get to do that in earnest since I didn't read the chapter until yesterday. But having read it when you did you attempt this, and what was your experience?
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I feel like I have an interesting advantage right now where I'm in New York City and I don't want to stay in and read. I want to go out and explore. And actually, a funny synchronicity that I'm just thinking about is a friend of mine who has been in New York for a long time suggested, Jess, why don't you ditch the headphones, put away the phone, and just go meander around New York City? He's like, you don't need to optimize for everything. And I said, okay. I love this challenge because I was trying to see the fastest way to get somewhere. So this weekend, I ended up running into a creators maker market, which was in this basement floor in Chinatown. And I walked in and there were all kinds of creatives. There was jewelry maker, there was a baker, there were jackets that were handmade by an artist that overlaid so many different quilt swaths on them, and just like nothing I've ever seen before in a department store. And I did end up buying a few things. Even though I walked in, I said I was not going to buy anything. But it felt so much better to buy from these people. It felt like there was an energy exchange. I was so excited, even though I am on this budget right now. But there was an energy exchange, and it really expanded me once again to look out in the world and see just how many people are making creations and sharing them. And it's just a good reminder, like, what am I scared about when I want to share my voice? You know, people are doing this everywhere. And
Oh, that is rich. I'm just like the beauty even of it being something that you stumbled upon, and it
yeah,
being in like a basement, like that sounds obscure. That sounds sort of hard to find. And to have this incredible collective of creators, and also that it resonated so much with you and the quality of it, like it didn't need to be in the art museum or in this like lofty
no.
thing to be good, you know? Like it was there, and I love that. And I bet I mean I know. I don't need to bet. I know that you exchanged your energy with them too.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, like it was an exchange. And so like you being there, you happening upon it, you like trusting to just go with it, follow wherever you were led, created value for them also. And not just because you bought something, you know.
Yeah.
Jess, the other thing, this is an insider note that I know from Marco Polo. But I am like shocked because I totally thought the story was going one way, because you mentioned this friend suggesting that maybe you leave the headphones, and your headphones were lost this week.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
true.
so I thought that was going to be the synchronicity. So it was like you weren't listening, so they just disappeared.
Oh my God. I'm still, oh my gosh, for listeners out there, I am still so distraught that these headphones are missing. Like, oh my God, my headphones are such my safety net, and they just help me get in the right mood all the time. So, and then, I did sit in a cafe and I wrote more than I ever have. I probably wrote for 2.5 hours, and that was also really meaningful. And I could have been reading, and instead I had a lot come out. So the no reading was effective for me this week.
Wow. Okay. So at being effective, I'm going to pose the question that you posed to me again. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that feel like to you that it was effective?
Oh gosh, it's uh, the word that comes up is medicine or healing. And after I create, even in the process of creating, I was experiencing full body chills in a way that made my body feel so relaxed. I was excited. I also cried a little bit, but I felt safe in this cafe. There weren't even that many people. It's almost like I went to go get a massage. You know, my body just has such a relaxedness after letting that energy come through and flow out. Um, it's really nice to even just be able to articulate that right now because I think it's something that I just don't think about so often. And it's still kind of becoming familiar to me that it has that much power. And the one other thing I wanted to say is that when I'm in a period of consuming, which is, I don't love this, I consume so much. I am still on Instagram quite a bit. I feel like it's very easy to get lost in other people's energies. And when I am creating, the world feels very simple. And it just feels like I have a few colors to grab. I don't know what these colors are. They're like my life experiences. I have like a narrower set of colors to grab and use in my palette to create. And that provides simplicity and it provides peace. And it provides very clarifying direction on where to go next. And when I try to create from a place after being on Instagram, it's just that palette is instead noisy, a smattering of colors that are too messy and chaotic for me to put together and make sense from. And I usually feel a little bit lost after that. Like I'm not quite sure where I need to go. So that's a windy metaphor.
It's completely relatable. So knowing that and processing that, experiencing that in like a physical way and a mental way, an emotional way. I mean, that was like full experience that you walked through. Where does that lead you going forward when the exercise of the book is no longer there?
Where does it lead me? I think after spending time with my art, there is always clarity about a tiny next step that has been really quiet, like a whisper deep hidden somewhere in my subconscious or conscious, and that will usually come forward and tell me what I need to do next. And so I think there's not one answer, but maybe the answer is that every time I spend diving in and letting myself express and being free of judgment, I always have the next whisper of a step that I want to take. Yeah, like in this for this session, I know who I want to interview next with my Substack. So that was something that came forward. Okay, Jen, we got to flip this back. I'm a little bit in a squirrely mood right now, and I don't know why. I'm saying it out loud so that I can let the energy
Well,
flow.
I don't sense the squirreliness. I think maybe it's just because your voice is coming through. Maybe because you're talking about your experience, not someone else's.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good suspicion. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, Jen, I know you did this yesterday. Did you do any of the exercises?
Okay. I did the buried dreams and exercise. I don't. Okay. I'm afraid about how this is going to come across.
Great. That means it's going to
Okay.
be good.
No, I'm not sure if it's going to be good. There's going to be a chapter when Julia slams something hard down on me for what I'm about to say right now.
Okay.
But I guess I'm just like, a lot of the stuff in this chapter, I guess I was like, oh, I know this. Like, this is all integrated for me already, even reading deprivation. I mean, that's my normal state. I haven't been on Instagram since 2020, and it was like such a clear, like, this is like garbage. Like, it's every time I'm on it, it's not making me better, you know? And I was building a business at the time too. So it was like a very, very loaded decision to make at that time, because that was pretty much the only place that people who had businesses like mine were building businesses. And but I was like, if I am meant to build a business, it's not going to be at the cost of my sanity. Do you know what I mean? Like, there has to be another way. So I am going to stop this. And I actually tried to create like a movement around it. I tried to I created a program called Beyond the Gram. And it was like so fun, branded for my business, because my business is all related around foresight. And it was like 2020. Like, this is the year of 2020 vision. Like, we see clearly that no one likes being on Instagram. So like, let's move forward with that, like get off and like move on with your life, like. And I went and I was speaking at a conference for podcasters, because actually at that time I had a different podcast, and I remember on the stage like sharing about this and like asking people to raise their hands, and like some people raised their hands, and like one person actually came up afterwards, and it was like an experiment. For a few months I was like leading this small group, and ultimately most of them chose to stay on Instagram.
Wow.
And I didn't. And then I was like, well, you know what? I'm also. So I recorded a podcast episode about it. I wrote a little blog about like why I wasn't on it and like what I was doing to build my business. Oh, and I should just say that my business did so much better not using Instagram than ever using Instagram. Oh my gosh. No, it was like hands down. It was like the most obvious. I mean, like, because marketing on Instagram is like so passive. I mean, people are there to scroll. They're there to waste time. They're there to like get inspiration. They're there to like who knows what, And so and then it's like a horrible experience for somebody that's trying to build something, especially when you have a bunch of people that know you personally watching you, and you're talking to people that you're trying to find on the great web. You aren't talking to your friends and your family. You are talking to these other people whose needs you can met. And it's so uncomfortable to get caught in that middle, and it leads to so much self-doubt. So anyways, so it's a horrible experience. Some people have found their way through it, but I have so much evidence to say that most people are just, I mean, it's crazy. Now there are so many communities and so many people that speak about this topic and talk about building your business off of Instagram. There's so many people that were like true influencer levels that are now like actively leading people away from it. Like and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'm so glad that I'm not doing that now. But when I reached that point, like a few months into leading this like small group, an experiment, and other people were wanting to like go back, and I'm not saying that they're there still now. I don't know. But they want to go back. I was like, no, I'm still sure. I was like, I'm not making my life about Instagram by talking about not being on it. So I sort of just stopped it. But that podcast episode and that blog were like one of my top 3 drivers of organic traffic for like years.
Whoa.
And I would get like emails, and people would be like emailing me being like, thank you so much for sharing this. And it wasn't even a great, like, this wasn't even a great episode, but like just people feel so trapped by these things. And now it's like LinkedIn for me. And like, but like LinkedIn is like, so, cause I do post sometimes there. And then I also, as soon as it affects my energy, I stop. And so I fail as a business owner on all the things that you're supposed to do as a business owner and a creator when it comes to creating content and publishing, because I'm like, yes, I have a business, but like my business is primarily my art and my ideas and my writing, and like that needs to be protected. I will not have anything to offer if I like put myself on the butching table every day, you know, like, because like LinkedIn is ridiculous too. And
I hate LinkedIn.
like, who likes LinkedIn?
I don't know.
You know, and then like also it's LinkedIn. Now you go to LinkedIn, it's like a whole nother level of cringe. And it's like, okay, yeah,
Oh my
I post on LinkedIn, and now I have colleagues. For a while I was posting on LinkedIn when I was still working in tech. So I had like active colleagues, past colleagues, random people, and clients. Yeah, anyways, Jess.
Oh my gosh. We need to do like a whole separate episode on this because I have so many thoughts and questions. Although I agree with you with everything you said.
I also am like, why, like, but yeah, because I like at the core of it, it's like, yeah, when I spend time on things like that, and I mean, I read people's email newsletters, like I do
Yeah.
read other people's stuff, but also to me, my time is very short, and so it's like I can either generate or I can consume. And some days I try to like rest by reading or something, but it is often more restful to me to create. Like
Ooh.
that makes me feel better than
Yeah.
taking something in always.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Which sounds like it's true for you too, based on how you felt.
Definitely. Definitely. I love that was like such a crystallized synthesis of I think what I was also expressing. Jen, how do you think with the absence of consuming, how does that impact your art and what you create?
When I think about writing, I think it helps me to access truth because I am speaking truthfully about what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling, what I'm trying to articulate, like what tension is actually present for me. Because as soon as I start consuming or looking what's out there, then the businessy stuff, the marketing stuff comes to mind. It's like, well, how do I speak into this, you know, or how do I like address what's going on in the bigger landscape? And like, yes, like that stuff is important when you're marketing and when you're selling, but like the actual art form or like substance or creation to me needs to feel true. It needs to feel like me. It cannot be a riff on someone. And I like inspiration with me is hard because probably inspiration mostly shows up as jealousy for me. You know, jealousy that somebody else is getting to do something or has found the way to articulate the thing that like I hadn't gotten to yet, you know, or whatever. And so then I'm like, okay, but I need to be on. I need to be so on point with my own truth and my own ideas to put anything out there, you know? So I need to be in touch with what I actually think and what I know and what I'm working through. Otherwise it feels all fake to me.
What I'm hearing, I mean, Jen, tell me if this is right. With the absence of consumption on various platforms, it just lets you distill more of what is coming up, honestly. Like you're not taking others. I guess what I'm trying to say is like it seems like there's maybe this subconscious intake of what you're consuming, and like the absence of it lets you just not have that, you know, tint or veil over the thoughts that your own thoughts.
Yeah, and I would say like because I'm not ignorant of things going on, and I can sense a lot. So like I feel like I have a deluge of information coming in at me all the time. Like I don't need to read other people's thoughts on it to process it myself. Do you know? And because I'll tell you, there is one thing that bothers me in conversations is when people do not claim their own ideas. Like, I'm like, I'd never have gotten bored more quickly in a conversation than when someone's like, oh, I read this article that says blah, 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 and they don't follow it up with their reaction or their opinion or what they disagree with. I am like, okay, cool.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm also laughing because I do this. But second, this is just so, oh my God, I love this. You want to hear their own reaction, their own. What if people are telling you this article recap or the opinion because it's a way to express their own opinion that they just haven't?
Yeah, I know, but they're not brave enough to do it. So this is hilarious because I'm like, I will put myself on the line every time. I mean, like, for an authentic connection, yes. So it's hilarious. My husband just like, it's like we have so many times where after we have social things where he's like, yeah, you were pushing it. But I'm like, I ask the question. I'm like, like, so tell me more. Like, I am like, oh, I cannot stand it when people want to have this stuff. But I do it in like, I am a loving, caring person. But I do think that it's what draws people to me. I think they like sense this like, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable, but like, oh.
Yeah, but somebody wants to get to know what I think.
And I don't know what I think.
Yeah.
But like, that's even interesting in and of itself. I don't know. And then, I mean, I have wonderful friends that go right into it all with me too. But like, we're in a season of meeting a lot of new people after a move, and I just can't help myself.
I love this, Jen. Oh my God, I love this. This is funny because I was also thinking with this chapter, I don't know how I didn't touch on this yet, or maybe I said it earlier and I just sort of blacked out. But the word honesty really felt like it came forward for me. And gosh, I was just reflecting on this guy's Instagram account who I've been following called Ride with Ian. Well, he started on TikTok. That's how I followed him. And he rode his bike every day from Europe all the way to Japan. And he's been doing this for a year. And he's just so honest. He's just so honest and raw. And I guess this came up in the morning pages for me because I was like, what content do I resonate? What do I like to read these days? And the only way I could synthesize it is just anything that was honest. And that's probably why we love talking to each other. And it's like, how do we push ourselves to be even more honest? I think Jen, I think you do a really good job of letting people share and then like finding one more layer to peel back.
When you're talking about this, is what you're saying being honest like with yourself, or like being honest like publicly with other people or online or with your work? Or like what level is this coming up for you the most?
I think where a barrier that I'm really trying to break through right now is being honest on like a mass public facing front. And there are some areas of being honest with myself that I still feel like I am uncovering. That feels a little easier. I feel like I can be honest easily in one-on-one conversations and usually in the workplace, but if it's in front of a mass audience, I do feel myself go into like a survival, what's going to be palatable, what's going to bring cohesion, and how is this going to be harmonious for everyone? So, and sometimes that requires me being less than honest.
Yeah, you're not alone in that. I mean, isn't it wild how often it feels like a dichotomy that you have to choose one or the other, like to be, and I don't think that's a true dichotomy, but it feels like that all the time.
Yeah. There's a really interesting question there that is, what are the ingredients for honesty and psychological safety at the same time? Or how, what do you need to hold both?
I mean, they are like both of them are essential ingredients to creativity, especially creative expression.
Mm.
Like you'll burn out, or oh, what does she call them? The kriyas, or she doesn't call them the kriyas, but she
Oh,
uses
yeah.
kriya as an example to explain this of like, I had it underlined. Oh, like a tantrum, she calls it.
Mm.
And not without a kriya, a Sanskrit word meaning spiritual emergency or surrender. I always think of kriyas as spiritual seizures, perhaps because they should be spelled kriyas, Spanish spelling, because they are cries of the soul as is rung through changes. I'm not sure if that fits, but I mean, like, there's truth that if you don't have the safety, or you don't have the bandwidth, or your nervous system isn't ready, then like you can't withstand putting yourself out there. Like things will
Mm.
fall apart, and you can get back up and you can rebuild, but like that cost is sometimes really extreme. That cost is sometimes years. It's sometimes downplaying your identity and like choosing beliefs of like, oh, well, that wasn't for me because that felt so horrible when I went
Mm.
and I said that, or I did that. Or, I mean, I see examples of this all the time. I mean, I have my own examples. I mean, this makes me think of like posting on LinkedIn and like doing it consistently for a month, and then like not being able to log in for months, you know? And it's like, there's so many ways to play with that. Like the primary narrative that's handed to me is you're not cut out for this. You can't stay with the consistency. You don't know how to engage an audience. You don't know how to do the work. You don't know how to stick to a schedule. You don't know how to like,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, yes. And also, no, because my business is not growing an audience on LinkedIn.
Mm. Mm.
It's like I post on LinkedIn because I know that the people that I can serve best are most likely to be on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And there's a chance that I post something that comes across them and is like, oh, okay, somebody thinks a little bit differently out there. Like these thoughts are okay to have, because I don't post conventional things for the career ladder chasers on LinkedIn. And so this is that. I'm like always putting myself out there on a platform where even I know for people to like my stuff isn't the intuitive response, because it is signaling, and LinkedIn is so visible with what you do. So like my posts don't get a lot of reach. They don't get a lot of interaction, and I know they won't. And then I have to deal with the reality of like this, or not the reality, but the fear that people that I know are watching me and being like, wow, she sucks at this. She's posting and like getting 8 likes on something. Wow, how cute. How
And
dumb.
though, I think that a good thing for listeners, again, insight from Marco Polo, Jen, you were telling me that people were dropping in with inquiries who had
Yeah.
not.
Oh yeah.
So that's like
And
the
this
other
this
side
is
of this.
exactly, and that's actually something that like a lot of people who use LinkedIn to market will tell you, is that usually the people that buy don't engage with your posts,
Mm.
but they're like following, and like because it feels, people are so driven towards stability. So like even signaling that you're interested in a service provider that like might help you make a move or make a change feels risky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, Jen, how have you gotten your nervous system in the right place?
I mean, I'd say the main thing is like the only type of self work that I invest in is body based work. So
Mm.
if I'm going to
Mm.
do therapy, it's going to be like with a somatic trained therapist. If I am
Mm.
going to buy a program about parenting, I bought like a breathwork parenting program. If I'm going to buy a business resource or a business coach, it's going to be a body based program, and that's why I have started like pursuing my own certification in somatic experiencing, because I believe in its power so much
Mm.
that I want to, it's like the gap that I want to fill between what I currently offer my clients and like what I believe will be so powerful. Because then it's all being regulated
Yeah. Yeah.
in time, along with the insight and the connection and just more embodiment, moment by moment.
Absolutely. Oh, somatic work is so powerful. That's, again, I'm going to put that in the bucket for like a next podcast topic.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Jess,
Okay. Yeah.
thank you so much for another surprising and exciting and honest conversation.
Honest conversations. Oh, with you, Jen, they're easy and so much fun.
Are so much fun. We'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week. Talk to you soon.